Hey everybody, GC13 here. Like so many of the series I love, Hilda is primarily episodic. However, like all of my favorite episodic series, it rewards the loyal viewer. Sometimes it's as simple as a callback to an earlier episode, but other times we get to see the results of earlier character development. Oh yes, Stephen, there is an order. One episode came to my mind first when I was thinking about these callbacks and character developments, the Jorts Incident. It's fairly late in the show's second season, so spoilers abound here, but I figure that if you're watching this, then you've either already seen the series, or will enjoy the series more if you get some promise of what's to come. The Jorts Incident calls back to the end of the first season episode, The Tide Mice. In that episode, we see the eponymous tide mice crawl into Hilda's bag at the end to hitch a ride home with her. Well, a season later, we're finally treated to a sequence of their daily life, sneaking about the place gathering materials for their nest, and searching for food. They end up riding in Hilda's bag again, but this time, it was very much not their idea. Twig is right behind Hilda as she runs off to the library, a big change from how cooped up inside he was just 2 episodes prior. The tide mice escape when Hilda drops her bag at the bus stop, and they're found and fed by kind-hearted delivery man Gil. I don't know if him feeding them some Jort snacks is meant to call back to the offering of bread from their disenchantment ritual, but either way, they take a liking to him and select him as their next host. The resulting good fortune begins immediately, and Gil is summoned to headquarters to meet with Wanda, the head of distribution. She's suddenly come down with a thirst for adventure, you see, and who better to replace her than delivery man Gil Jones? What follows is a rapid and disorienting rise to the top, with Gil barely having time to settle into his chair before being moved into first marketing, then product development, all the way up the corporate ladder until he's eventually made CEO. All of this happens while Hilda and company are together at the library, helping Frida study. This is a continuation of Frida's growth as a witch she began earlier in the season, well after Hilda's own spawning of the tide mice. The senior witches are well aware of the tide mice running amok and summon the 3 children. The regular void from earlier in the season may not be much use for banishment anymore, but they still have a juvenile void to threaten Hilda with. While the Committee of 3 and the Arch-Sorceress argue, the kids run off and decide to look for the tide mice. They have no luck, and things get worse. It turns out that the tide mice are hard at work stealing Gil's soul for Hilda. With no one else to turn to, they head back to the library to find help. We get to see a bit of magic from Frida, and Kaisa proposes the use of a decidedly non-magical oracle to find the missing mice. Hilda recognizes Gil, the delivery man from earlier in the day, and the 4 head to the Jorts headquarters to capture the tide mice. When they get there, they make a quick and disturbing realization. They aren't hunting 2 mice, they're hunting 439. They split up and begin to capture the mice, all accompanied by some bouncy music with appropriately witchy vocals. Hilda is able to make it up to the top floor alone and free Gil from the grip of the tide mice, but they escape into the air vent, ready to start the cycle all over again. At least until Mr. Jones comes in and, once again, charms the tide mice with an offering of jorts. All that's left to do is take the mice and Gil back to the Committee of 3 to properly break the enchantment. After punishing Hilda for her initial recklessness, of course. The witches perform the ritual, giving Gil his soul back and allowing things to find their own way back to something they can call normal. When Hilda next meets Gil, he doesn't work for Jorts anymore. He's stocking the bloops Hilda had in her bag earlier when the tide mice were searching for food. That's not the last same episode callback we see, though. The episode has one fantastic surprise left for us. As Hilda's bus comes in, we see that Wanda is happily continuing her adventures, and is even booking dates to bring others on her journey. See the world, Wanda. See the world. So yes, Hilda may be very much an episodic series, but like all the best ones, it still takes care to reuse concepts it's already introduced you to. The tide mice, left deliberately in play at the end of their introductory episode, are given a definitive ending, while Frida is continuing her magical study and casting spells more confidently. You know, all of this talking about mice has me thinking about another rodent introduced in the first season, but maybe we'll get to that another day. Were you happy to finally see the tide mice back? What about the Committee of 3? Let me know down in the comments below. Like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't, and make sure you subscribe to the channel for more cartoon videos.